Morning guys, Mon here. Today I want to showcase my endgame version of Corrupting Fever. Due to the lack of bosses I currently have, we just do a quick Elder Guardian map from Kira to showcase the build overall. The clear of the build is pretty damn insane. It's fairly fast and I really like the speed at which we go through the map. The tankiness is fairly fine, we can still improve it by quite a bit. I currently do not run Determination because I want to test the Melvin's setup, but for like 25% less damage or 20% less damage, something like that, you can always swap to Determination and make it quite a bit tankier. Oh god damn, I don't have a weapon here actually. Take this one. So overall the character is fairly tanky. Easy moderate, okay, I haven't seen this yet. Pretty fun, brutal, lethal. Okay, that actually it's nice that there is like a percent something. What map is this? It is 83. It's a tier 16 map on lethal. As you can see the damage is very fine. I later on will obviously showcase stuff like Maven and Ubereld and stuff like that, but I currently do not have access to those because I mostly farmed low and mid tier essences to just make currency and upgrade this build to the state it's currently in. So yeah, we'll just take down the Elder Guardian and talk about the build overall just then. We are playing a Gladiator for like explosions and for speed. Overall, Champion seems to be the more popular choice right now, but I do prefer the Gladiator because the Champion is the more tanky but slower version. And I like the more, well, damage and faster version. So yeah, that's what we are going with. The damage is like not absolutely insane, but also nothing to sneeze at. Like, this is a purifier with like 50% more monster life, and yeah. The Elder Guardians do not have like absolutely insane health pools, but I feel like it's a pretty decent speed at which we kill these here. I think from Path of Building we are at about 4.5 million DPS, and there still is some stuff I have to upgrade. Like we are using level 3 Empower, we are using a normal Brutality instead of Awakened Brutality, and stuff like that. There's still a lot of stuff to upgrade, but let's take a look at the overall character for now, and after that we go into the gear section piece by piece. So the character works by using Kinetic Blast. We clear with Kinetic Blast, we single target with Kinetic Blast, we mostly just use Kinetic Blast. But how does this work? Well, the skill we use is Corrupting Fever. Corrupting Fever is a skill we activate, which deals a lot of damage to ourselves, and then is active, and as long as we are using life for skills, the duration is refreshing and we keep the buff active. Whenever we hit an enemy with anything really, we apply a Corrupting Blood stack onto him, onto the enemy, and we can get up to 10 Corrupting Blood stacks. Currently the tooltip is at about 150k damage, so 1.5 million tooltip from Corrupting Fever alone. Also, we are using a Spellslinger setup with Exsanguinate and Reap, which just, well, hit the enemy and apply their own physical damage over time debuff, which both are fairly lethal as well. We have like here 160k on Exsanguinate, which can apply 3 times, and we have 180k on Reap, which is boosted by blood charges, which we also gain by using like Val Reap. We can gain up to 9 blood charges, which give 15% more damage per charge. We are using the Corrupting Fever setup in Idealas Malefaction right now, with an Empower support, Swift Affliction, Divergent Efficiency, Life Tap, and Brutality. The Divergent Efficiency is very important in the Dialis in the green socket, because we need the reduced cost. Because if we like use it like this, oh actually we can use what? Oh, I actually did put it into another green socket. Like the life cost is over our HP, and that is fairly bad. Okay, so we want to reduce the life cost to a manageable amount, but we still want it to like be fairly high to get us into low life to proc adrenaline. But more on that later. Yeah, and brutality. Another setup of this character is to drop the Spacelinger setup completely. This allows you to put in another aura and some more utility stuff, but you put Reap into the main link instead of life tap, and then you use for bosses, you just like click Reap onto the enemy, and I do not like the setup at all. I don't think it's a good setup, but people do it, so people, well, like it seems. I personally don't. I think it's a bad setup, but everyone like does as he wants. So we're using this. We're using a 4-link Exsanguinate Reap Control Destruction Spellslinger in 30% more damage over time glove base, so that both of these are in a pseudo 4-link more or less. And we could use like just one of them. We could like drop Reap and only use Exsanguinate, put in Brutality in here and have like more damage on one skill and less mana reservation, but we would lose damage overall. This might help to squeeze in another aura, so that you can use Determination in addition to that, but you will have to like fix quite some mana problems also, because auras still are very, very expensive, and it won't fix everything, because you don't just drop half of the mana because you get another multiplier in there. So you would get the Brutality multiplier, and you would still then use 22% of mana instead of 32. So it's just a very slight bonus you get there. You could, for example, then drop Blood and Sand and put in Flesh and Stone, because Flesh and Stone overall is the better aura, but like fairly difficult to put in with the current mana reservation. Aside from that, we are using Stitch and Vice with just generic stats more or less, life, chaos stress, stuff like that. There's nothing specific here. I want to upgrade this as my next piece most likely, but I'm not sure yet. Then we use a ring with just a lot of life and damage over time, plus 1 minimum frenzy charges. We use an amulet with plus 2 minimum endurance charges. We use a shield with a lot of defense stats and avoid ailments. Also, it does have the tree for plus 1 minimum enduro, plus 1 minimum frenzy charge. And the other stuff is not yet worked out, but I want to put in Fizz Reflect here as well on this note. Then we would be Physical Reflect immune and could run all map mods, no matter what. Currently, the only map mod we cannot run fairly well is Physical Reflect. When we disable Spellslinger, we can run it, but I want to run all maps without looking at them, so we want Fizz Reflect immunity. And then we are using a wand with physical over time, the level of all physical spell games and minion damage and attack speed. I lay down one to upgrade for a plus 2 wand, but it's fairly expensive, and currently this one is pretty damn good already. Here we also use the plus 1 minimum endurance and frenzy charge. I want to have reduced attribute requirement here as well, or plus 80 int. Later on we want plus 80 int, but currently I throw together a lot of steps, and yeah, a lot of ones, and this is the most troll I've got because it's on the wrong tree by 1. It's so unfair. Then we've got attack speed and some physical damage. These are unimportant. Later on here I try to get one slinger. No, how it's called. It's the notable somewhere around here. No, not this one. Where is it? It's actually one slinger because it gives attack speed with ones and increased damage while wielding one, so it increases our damage of the dots. So that's the skill we are going for here, and then there's intelligence or something else. We're not exactly sure yet, but this is what we are using right now. And then for the other ring we have a Circle of Guild, which is fairly straightforward. For the helmet we are using a double mana reservation efficiency helmet with reservation efficiency enchant as well. And for the boots we are using general defense stats with a shitload of avoid elemental ailments. So with the shield and the boots we are elemental ailment capped with 100% on all. And also we don't have to use like any other like we only use 2 items for avoid elements, which is very great. And before I use the Grand Spectrum for +1 minimum frenzy, +1 minimum endurance charges. Due to the weapon trees we can drop these, and I was also using avoid elements in here before. So we used a triple Grand Spectrum setup with minimum endurance, minimum frenzy and avoid elements to get all the stuff we need. Now we have it on the skill trees and on the ring and the amulet to be permanently up at endurance and frenzy charges. This is important for the Gladiator, I will show why in a second. The other setups we are using is shield charge with faster attacks and life tap. In there is a vulnerability, just for more damage. Why is this corrupted without quality? I need... okay, because we need an alternate quality for this. Then we're using a war banner, flame dash, malevolence. We use flame dash level 1 because we cannot sustain the mana cost of anything higher. We're using a kinetic blast, GMP, life tap, life gain and hit setup. If you're using the setup still where corrupting fever is in the gloves and the kinetic blast in the 6th link, you put in maim and culling strike as well in the kinetic blast, but I would use life tap, life gain and hit and GMP in the 4th link. You can, however, vary this a little bit and do like other support champs here. Also we use Blind Center, Root of Purity and Pride. Overall the setup I think is fairly straightforward and doesn't have like insane secrets to it. Then we use just some defense flasks with Granite, Silver for Onslaught. We use a Quicksilver, we use the Progenesis. The Progenesis is very very good but not needed, and it's extremely expensive, so you don't really like, you don't need this flask. It's just pretty good. You can just use another armor flask like the percent increase armor flask. Then let's take a look at the Pantheon. We are using taking extra damage from crits here. If we've taken a crit recently, which is fairly nice for stuff like where the maps have extra critical strike chance, and there's a forge node that says once always crit, so that's fairly dangerous. Use Soul for Slaughter for better flasks and reduce life regeneration rate on enemies. Yeah. Then let's take a look at the skill tree. We currently are using 2 cluster jewel setups. I did use one before, but I changed my tree from over here to over here because we do not need the Grand Spectrums anymore, because I've had 3 jewel sockets occupied by Grand Spectrums, but this changed by now. So now we are using Thread of Hope with very large ring to get the Spiritual Aid, which makes increases and reduction in minion damage also affect you, which is a really good combination with the Elegant Hubris, which gives nodes that just give a lot of physical damage, or well, actually we have 2 with physical damage. Okay, never mind then. Later on I want Elegant Hubris that gives a 3rd node, which gives like 80% minion damage, and for that it's important. Also for the wand, it's important to have this, but currently this is not extremely important. But yeah, there's Elegant Hubris with 2 times 80% minion damage, and then you need the Spiritual Aid node. In addition to that, we are using a small cluster jewel with mana reservation, 35% effect, and some additional stats like intelligence. I had to fix my intelligence this way because we did not hit the 80 intelligence node on the wand at all. It was fairly annoying. Yeah, we abused the forge quite a bit and we didn't hit it. Then we're using a Forbidden Flame setup for first to strike last to fall, which makes us or which gives us adrenaline when we cast Corrupting Fever. For the ascendancy, we use Outmatch and Outclass, which says that we need maximum frenzy charges and maximum endurance charges. That's why we have the setup with the Grand Spectrums or the trees that gives us minimum charges, so that we always are at maximum. Also, we're using Arena Challenger for more attack and movement speed per Challenger charge. This is the main reason why we are a lot faster than the champion. The other reason would be Blood in the Eyes for the beat explosions, but the champion variant uses the explosion gloves, which I don't like also because now we can use actually good gloves. Also, we are using Gracious Violence, which just gives 20% more. What actually? No, I'm an idiot. This is for the taking increased damage, and this is for the explosion node, and later on the champion nodes, the champions also take the explosion node um, through Forbidden Flesh and Flame, but the arena challenger is the reason why we are a lot faster, and the armor node and the fortify node is the reason why the champion is over tankier. But yeah, overall we here deal a lot more damage, like by 20, 30, 40%, and yeah, I like this setup more. But if you want to be tanky, you can use the exact same setup with the champion and just replace these two. And be more tanky, you would replace the male villains with determination in that case. Other things that are important, I don't think we really have here. It's fairly straightforward. The implicit projectiles pierce an additional target is fairly important for clear. Other than that, we don't really have anything too specific. We need the Charisma Anoint for the mana reservation efficiency. And also I am using a Jewel with mana reservation efficiency. And yeah, that's, I think, everything I want to talk about for now. It already is a fairly long video, so if you have any questions about this build in particular and want to see some bosses and stuff like that, stay tuned or just ask, join the stream or whatever. You can find me anywhere you want and just ask. So thanks for watching and see you on the next one.